even help with people with multiple sclerosis in many cases. Now, nothing is 100%. Nothing is pure. Nothing works 100% of the time. But this is what seems to work the best. It's like chiropractic care. Chiropractic care is the most effective, least expensive treatment for back pain in most cases. Sometimes you need other intervention, but in most cases, this is where you want to go. Mediterranean diet, it's an umbrella. It refers to diets based on historic eating patterns of people that live around the Mediterranean Sea. That's why it's called a Mediterranean diet. Now, according to the American Heart Association, which recommends this type of diet, the key factors: high fruits and vegetables, grains, legumes, low fat or fat-free dairy products, fish, poultry, and non-tropical oils and nuts. So this is the part where I waver a little bit from it. I would like to see you cut back on dairy products and animal products as well. But these people also, this is what they eat. Now, the difference here is that if you go to Europe, you're going to find a lot of foods, well, you're not going to find a lot of foods, I should say, that you find in the United States. I've read somewhere, and 80% of the products we find in the United States grocery store, you can't find in most European grocery stores. I don't remember the documentation on that. But 80% of the products we find in U.S. stores, you're not going to find in many European stores because of things like dyes, chemicals, high fructose corn syrup, artificial sweeteners. A lot of the things, they don't exist. Even if you go to Mexico, the cola sodas, they call it Mexican cola because it's made with sugar and not high fructose corn syrup. Now, that's not a health thing in Mexico. It's just that the culture is more likely to buy the sugar than it is the high fructose corn syrup because of the flavor. So we seem to be so far behind when it comes to the toxic chemicals we put in our food. And I hope that's going to change soon, that we can catch up to the rest of the world and get rid of some of that junk. So the Mediterranean diet, high fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, which we talked about, small amounts of animal products, and then limited sugar, sugary beverages, highly processed foods, refined carbohydrates, saturated fats, fatty or processed meats. See the key there. In America, if you're eating a conventional animal product, you run the risk of having things like steroids, chemicals, hormones, antibiotics, pesticides. They're fed genetically modified food. The food that they eat is sprayed with glyphosate, which is a weed killer, which destroys good bacteria in your colon and actually affect your DNA. You might see commercials for it. You know, do you have non-Hodgkin's lymphoma? Have you been exposed to this weed killer? Well, yeah. So a lot of the things that are around the world are not, a lot of things in the United States are not available around the world because they're so toxic. And so the Mediterranean diet, even if you are eating animal products, they're going to be what we would call organic. They don't even have that word. The fish that they eat is going to be wild-caught fish. It's not going to be farm-raised fish because a farm-raised fish is going to be fed corn, genetically modified corn, genetically modified soybeans, antibiotics because infections can run rampant in these fish pens. And so that's not what a fish should be eating, certainly not antibiotics, and they're not going to have the same nutrient level. For example, wild-caught fish, if you're looking at omega-3 fatty acids, are traditionally much higher than farm-raised fish. I mean, they're raised in a cage in the ocean, but they don't eat the natural food chain. And the food chain is where they get their omega-3s. Now, omega-3 fatty acids are what we consider an essential fatty acid. You have to get it from an outside source. But when it comes to fish, fish don't produce omega-3 fatty acids. Fish get it from eating smaller fish, with eventually down the food chain, algae. Algae is the thing that produces the omega-3 fatty acids in the proper form, in what's called the phospholipid form, and then it works its way up the food chain. Now, if you take your fish and you cook it a lot, heat can destroy omega-3 fatty acids. Now, I don't want you eating raw fish because you run the risk of parasites, but the more you cook it, the more you're going to destroy those omega-3 fatty acids. So if you're going to eat fish, I'm going to recommend wild-caught only. If you're going to eat animal products, I'm going to recommend organic only, which really is part of the Mediterranean diet by default. They don't have those words necessarily. I guess they do have them in their diet, but the food is already naturally grown and fed natural foods. And so that's how it fits into that whole ideal diet, according to science. If you're not willing to do that, I would suggest you cut back or cut out your animal products. Now, the nice part is omega-3 fatty acids, you can get them from a supplement form. I take an omega-3 fatty acid supplement every day, and by the way, you should too. And it's algae, which is the pure form without the risk of toxicity. Mercury, algae is not going to collect a lot of mercury. The bigger the fish, the more mercury it's going to have. So if you're eating a tuna that's really big and it's been around for a long time, chances are it's had time to accumulate mercury in it. Mackerel. I remember my father used to take me mackerel fishing up in New York. And mackerel is such a very fishy fish. It tastes terrible. And I could still, just thinking about it, my mother would say, take one bite. And I would just gag and gag because it smelled and tasted like fish. She goes, oh, it's good for you. It's brain food. Now, at the time, we didn't understand why fish was good for your brain. My mother and my grandmother always said fish is brain food. Well, I always said, well, the fish wasn't that smart. It got caught. But back then, the omega-3 levels were higher and the mercury levels were lower. Now, with farm raising and the way the oceans have been, we've got higher levels of mercury, and that's a big issue. So that's why I take an algae omega-3 fatty acid supplement every day. It's on my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. It's in the store section. It says on the bottle, take one a day. I take 2 a day. I like to get about 1 gram of omega-3 fatty acids every day. That seems to be the best for my brain function and for most people's brain function. And they're essential. You have to get them from an outside source. It helps with inflammation, helps with brain function. So important that you get these. And if you're eating a plant-based diet, that's one thing you might want to consider. Now, you can get omega-3 fatty acids from things like flax seeds, chia seeds, even romaine lettuce has some omega-3 in it, mushrooms. Mushrooms have vitamin D in it, I'm sorry. But the omega-3s, you can get them, and it has to be converted in the body and utilized. And you may not get enough because the ALA form of omega-3 fatty acids is what you get from plants. It has to be converted into something called DHA and EPA. I know it's a lot of chemistry there, but the plant oil has to be converted into usable form when the algae oil is already in the form that we use. Okay, macadamia nuts have it in there too. So I take an extra supplement, and you've heard me talk about supplements in the past. I don't believe supplements are a luxury. I believe they're a necessity. If your goal is to obtain and maintain the best health you can, I believe supplements are a necessity. So omega-3s, absolutely. Vitamin D. Most of us are not out in the sun enough to get enough vitamin D. So what happens, UVB rays interact with cholesterol in your skin and create vitamin D. And if you're on a statin drug, you may not have enough cholesterol in your body to react. You're probably not getting enough sun. You need about 20 minutes, 3, 4, 5 times a day of direct sun on your body. And especially in the winter months, you can't get that even if you're out in the sun because the angle of the sun. And so vitamin D is absolutely a necessity when it comes to supplements, in my opinion. You want to make sure your vitamin D has vitamin K2 with it because vitamin D, one of the many things it does is helps absorb calcium and bring it from the food into the blood, and then the K2 takes it from the blood and brings it into the bones. So D3 with K2, yeah, that's a necessity. B vitamins, I eat a really good diet, and I still take a B complex every day because you pee out your B vitamins every day. Why not replace them? And then the granddaddy of all supplements would be Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. They're 2 powders. I take a scoop of each and mix it together. Shake it up, water, coconut milk, almond milk, drink it down. I add my vitamin D liquid to it, and I just drink it that way every morning. Somebody asked me the other day, they said, why don't you just put it in a pill form, the Super Greens and Essential Source? Because it's a powder. And that's a slight inconvenience because you have to take the powders and mix it up. And, of course, in our society, we don't like anything that we want as easy as possible. So we did the studies on that, and it would be like 3 times the price. You'd have to take like 13 or 15 different pills because the powder is so concentrated. So if you want to pay 3 times the price and take that many pills, I'm sure I can have a manufacturer put in a pill form for you. But I'd rather you spend that money on other supplements or other things. And that's why we leave it in a powder form. So all the supplements we talk about are on our website, drjoe.com. So Super Greens, Essential Source, a B complex, vitamin D, and now we're talking about omega-3 fatty acids, which is one of the many benefits as to why the Mediterranean diet, according to science, is the best diet. Across the board, it goes through all the scrutiny and comes out shining. Says, yes, it works really well. Harvard School of Public Health. Recommendations that they talk about, they emphasize good fats, olive oil, avocados, nuts, and oily fish. Again, I'm not a fan of the oily fish, but the avocados, the nuts, the seeds. If you're going to do olive oil, which if that's the only one of 2 oils you should ever use, actually, that and coconut oil, make sure it's organic. Make sure it comes from one source. I posted this on social media the other day, and Of course, there's always, I don't know if you've been on social media, everybody's an expert and everybody's a critic. He said, well, I said one source because it's less likely to be contaminated. And he says, well, one source can be contaminated too. So understand that. It's less likely to be contaminated. But here's the grand test, the best test you can do. Take your olive oil, your organic olive oil, put it in the refrigerator overnight. It should get cloudy. It should get a little thicker, maybe get a little hard. That means it's a good olive oil. If it doesn't get thick, if it doesn't get cloudy, if it stays the same color, it's probably cut with soybean oil or some other cheap oils. So extra virgin organic olive oil, extra virgin organic coconut oil, those are the only oils you need. Now, you can do avocado oil if you want, but you can just eat the avocado and the nuts. So they're talking about getting the good fats in your diet from the Mediterranean diet. We're talking about a lot of fiber. You're talking about phytonutrients from plants. So there's multiple benefits to the diet. And in a second, I'm going to talk about what part of the diet is the best. And I'll give you the I'll give you the sneak peek. None of it's the best. The diet itself is the thing that works the best. I'll give you a little preview there. So when it comes to healthcare, what I'm always trying to teach you is what's the best. What does science say is the best? According to this, the Mediterranean diet. What about pain? How many of you have pain? Raise your hand. Neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, headaches. What's the best treatment for back pain? What's the most effective, least expensive treatment for back pain? That'd be chiropractic care. So if we're going to do a diet, why don't we eat the best diet? If we're going to get treatment for our pain, why don't we do the treatment that's going to be the best for the pain? So if you'd like to make an appointment to come see us for your neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, nutritional concerns, digestive issues, go to my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. I want to be your doctor. I want to check your nervous system. I want to get to the cause of your pain. I want to find out why you have digestive problems. I want to do a nutritional evaluation on you. I want to do everything we can to get you as well as possible, as quickly as possible, for the least amount of money. There's big concerns in healthcare. I think this is not a secret. It certainly made the headlines recently, where some companies are denying anesthesia. We're only going to pay for so much anesthesia. If you need more, we're not going to pay for it. And claims get denied constantly. I talk to my friends that are orthopedists, neurologists, neurosurgeons, chiropractors, always getting claims denied. Why? Because we said so. We don't think there's enough evidence. Yet they'll prove the exact same claim for somebody else. So it doesn't make any sense. What the insurance companies are doing is, I think they've gotten away with it too long and now they're getting caught. And I'm pleased with that because it's better for you. But why not do the things that are the best for you? And science clearly shows for most back pain patients, not all, most back pain patients, chiropractic care. So if you want to make an appointment, drjoe.com. We accept almost all the insurances that are out there, not all, but most all. Car accidents, sports injuries, just come see us. In a car accident, if the car is damaged, you're damaged. You're going to get calls from scammers, I promise you. One of my staff members just got in an accident. The phone was ringing off the hook with these scammers. Go see this doctor. Go see this lawyer. We're going to give you $100. If you do this, we're going to pay you extra. We guarantee $50,000. All of that was a lie. And if they do it, it's a felony. I don't want you being involved with felons. So call my office. If we don't have an office near you, I'll find an office that's near you, that's convenient for you. I can direct you to certain attorneys I've worked with that I trust, orthopedists, neurologists, neurosurgeons. Let's get to the cause of your health care problem and not just treat the symptoms. I don't care how much money you get in a settlement. If your health is compromised, it's not worth it. So drjoe.com. If you have any questions, send them to me through the website, drjoe.com. Happy to answer your questions for you as well. And the supplements are all in the store section, and you can order them or come by and pick them up. We'd love to have you come by, say hi, and then you save some shipping costs too. So we're talking about what science says is the best diet. And there's high protein, low protein, high fat, low fat, no carb, lots of carbs, raw food, vegan, vegetarian. What's the best? Science says the Mediterranean diet. And the Mediterranean diet really is mostly a plant-based diet. It's plant-based, has a little bit of animal products in it, but the animal products that they do eat would be what we consider in the United States organic, and that would be the best choice. So it advises people should eat red meat only occasionally, which I agree with. I don't think you should eat it at all, but if you are going to eat it occasionally. Water should be the main drink. Many people have 1 or 2 small glasses of organic wine. Again, can your body process that? Most healthy people can. But what's the key word in there? Small. And that's it. And it's mixed with the food. It's not drinking to get drunk. It's drinking as a drink throughout the day. If you've ever had homemade wine, it's very different in flavor than the processed wines. My grandfather used to make wine. My father made it too. And I don't drink. But I can still taste it, and it was so much better than the other wines. And that's why when people go to Europe, they'll have the wines made right there in the villages, and it's so much better and better for you because it doesn't have all the chemicals and sprays. And the grapes are oftentimes sprayed with highly toxic chemicals. I remember I went to a winery in North Georgia not long ago, a very beautiful winery. They had an Italian restaurant there, and my local adopted family here said, "Oh, we got to take you and have some Italian food." And beautiful place. And there were warning signs all over the grapevines. Do not touch highly toxic chemicals. You couldn't even touch the grapes. And yet, what do they do with them? They make wine out of them. So if you're going to drink wine, please, organic is another thing too. Researchers add that a healthy diet should also be paired with enjoyable physical activity. And if you've ever been to Europe, you'll find that most of the people walk a lot. I remember as a child going to visit some relatives in Germany. And it was so weird to me because they ate 5 small meals a day, which I thought was really cool. As a kid, 5 meals a day was great. And you worked hard. You woke up in the morning, you had a little bread, again, organically grown. The word organic didn't exist. And then you went out and worked the fields because my relatives lived on a farm, and I'd work with the cows and everything. And then we'd come in and have breakfast. And then lunch was the big meal. And then there was a snack in the afternoon, and then dinner, which was smaller meals. And what did we do all day? We worked all day. So activity is going to be really important. Unfortunately, in our society, we don't get a lot of activity. I mean, I got to go to a gym to work out. My German grandfather, God, he was wonderful, man. I remember one day I played football and hockey. I was big in high school. I was a 210-pound football player. And my grandfather said to me I was going to go work out with weights. He goes, you want muscles? Here's a shovel. Go dig a hole. What a profound statement that was. You want muscles, here's a shovel, go dig a hole. Those are real muscles. Those are practical muscles. And I remember that, and it always stuck with me. And I much rather do yard work than go to a gym and work out or housework because it's more practical and it uses all the muscles. If I'm bench pressing, I might use my pecs, but how often do I bench press something in real life? And so activity is going to be so important, and you don't have to go to a gym. You can have daily activities. Wash your windows. Mop your floors. Go for a walk. Go up and down the stairs. If you're on the phone, don't sit and talk on the phone. Move around on your phone. We have portable phones now. Cell phones. It's not like the old days where you're tethered by a long cord. So get the body in motion. Scott Kaiser, doctor at Cognitive Function and Pacific Neuroscience Institute of Providence and St. John's Hospital in Santa Monica, California. He says, now again, he works with geriatrics. Research supports the benefits of adopting healthy lifestyle habits and indicates the critical importance this can play in shaping the future of someone's collective health. So we all agree with the same thing. We all want to get to the cause of the problem, not just treat the symptoms. The good doctors do. The doctors that do the research, the doctors that really care about their patients. Folks, I'm up against the break here. If you have any health questions, send them to me through my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. Again, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. Let's do the thing that's going to be best for you, at least 90% of the time. How about that? Do what I say 90% of the time. The other 10%, you can go out and do whatever you want. But let's get to the cause of your pain. Let's get to the cause of your digestive problems. Let's get the body the nutrients that it needs, that science shows is going to be the best for your brain, cancer, digestion, overall health. And again, the website, if you have any questions, drjoe.com. Follow me on social media, Dr. Joe Esposito. We post every single day. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. All right. Got a lot to cover here. You have questions?
I've heard that neither of the cholesterol types that doctors test for are accurate representations of someone's health. If so, why are they tested?
They're tested because it's a standard. And I did a real good show on cholesterol not long ago. And what we find is it's not so much the cholesterol floating around in the blood that's dangerous. It's the cholesterol stuck to the artery walls. Now, if your cholesterol is off, I look at it as an indicator that something's wrong with your health. It may not be the cholesterol that's the issue. It may be your diet that's the issue. It might be a liver issue. It might be a genetic issue. So when it comes to cholesterol, I'd rather you do a calcium score. Now, calcium scores only test one type of plaque building up in the arteries. They don't test all the types of plaque that builds up in the arteries. So it's a good idea to get a calcium score. It's a good idea to look at your cholesterol levels, but then ask your question, why? Why am my cholesterol off? Am I low in statins? I just haven't had enough statin drugs in my diet? Now, sometimes you need statins. I'm not saying don't take them. But why is my cholesterol high? And if it's a diet issue, which it almost always is, why not just correct the diet instead of going the other way around? Why are things done? I don't know that answer because it's always been done that way. But that's why we're here, to try to not poo-poo all of that, but let's add new insight to it and see what we can do to make it better. So, what else you got?
I've heard that a fasting insulin test is the best screening for pancreatic cancer. Do you agree?
I am not an oncologist. So for pancreatic cancer, I would suggest you go get tested. They'll probably do screens for you. I don't think fasting insulin is going to tell you if you have or don't have pancreatic cancer. There are other tests you'd want to do for that as well. So I don't think an insulin test, it's good to do it fasting, but I'm not sure it's directly linked to pancreatic cancer. So what else?
I'm not digesting my food well. I have bad breath and indigestion. What do I need?
Okay, most common thing when you can't digest food and have bad breath is your stomach, which sits below the diaphragm, is pushed up into the diaphragm. And when the stomach pushes up into the diaphragm, you might have heartburn, acid reflux, burping, gas, bloating, bad breath. So we can treat the symptoms, or we can actually take the stomach and adjust it and pull it down away from the diaphragm. Now, it's the number 2 reason we see patients. Number 1 is pain. Number 2 is digestive problems. Another thing you can do is add Dr. Joe's digestive enzymes to your diet, because digestive enzymes can help break down the food. But if the stomach is up against the diaphragm, the problem is physical, not just chemical. And if we just treat it chemically, whether it's with enzymes or diet or medication, it's not getting to the cause. The cause is we have to manipulate the stomach away from the diaphragm. And so I would say come see us and let's check you. We can do a test on you. And the test is it's totally painless, totally non-invasive. And if it tests positive, we want to work on your stomach. If it tests negative, we don't want to work on your stomach. But this way you know what it is. If it's not the stomach up against the diaphragm, then let's dig a little deeper. Is it liver enzymes? Is it malabsorption? Is it leaky gut syndrome? We can figure that out. But the most common one is the stomach up against the diaphragm. So come see us. If you want to make an appointment, just go to drjoe.com, drjoe.com. Yes, John.
What's the best way to prevent children from getting ADHD and related illnesses?
Go to my website, drjoe.com, and type ADD in the search bar. And many times I find that it's exactly what we just talked about. The stomach is not digesting proteins properly. And so the stomach's main job is to digest proteins. It has a lot of other jobs too. But proteins come in all forms from almost all foods. Lettuce has it, and so does steak. And proteins look like a ball of yarn under a microscope. And the stomach enzymes or the stomach chemicals unravel the ball of yarn and chop it up into something called amino acids. 20 amino acids in the human diet. The amino acid named tryptophan combines with methylated B vitamins, B6, which of course, when I recommend B vitamins, I always say methylated, but it combines with B6 and creates a chemical called 5-HTP, which then becomes serotonin in your brain, and serotonin helps you focus. Now, there are other issues with ADD and ADHD, but the one missing link that I find across the board is a digestive problem. Chances are the kid has bad gas, is ticklish because they're protecting their digestive system, and they probably have bad breath as well. And so if we pull the stomach away from the diaphragm, the stomach is able to digest the proteins into the amino acids properly, and that many times is the cornerstone of getting the ADD under control. Because we can do therapies and we can do feedback, biofeedback. But again, if the stomach is not breaking down food properly, that's going to be the cornerstone of getting it fixed. One of my employees has a son, and he was born addicted to meth. And so very hard to focus, all over the place, great kid. So I took the kid under my wing, and we started talking a little bit, and he's very shy. He won't let me adjust him. So I said, here, at least take these B vitamins. And I got him on B vitamins, and the next week I saw his mother, one of my employees, and she said, he's able to sit still now for almost a half hour. He wasn't able to methylate his B vitamins. Methylate means put it in a usable form. She says, it's like a miracle. Now, he's not fixed, far from fixed. But the fact that he can sit still is amazing. And I've spoken to her several times since then, and she's like, it's night and day. It's amazing. He just couldn't methylate his B vitamins. So I'm sure once I get my hands on his stomach and adjust his stomach, we'll probably see better moves, a better improvement as well. So it's a digestive issue and a chemical issue is what I find. So what else you got, John?
Do you soak your black beans before cooking them? What is your best recipe for them?
Organic black beans, you can soak them. If you soak them, it helps break down the raffinose, and raffinose is a sugar that can cause a lot of gas. So you can soak them overnight. If you put a little apple cider vinegar into soaking water, better still, and then just rinse them and cook them. It's very simple. As far as the recipe goes, once you cook them, you can decide what direction you want to go in. You know, do you want to just use them plain? Do you want to add some cumin to it? Do you want to make it more of a Mexican flair? Add some garlic, some onions, saute that up and put them together. Do you want to make a black bean soup? Celery, carrots, and onions. Put that in a boiler, either a crock pot or a pressure cooker, and add the black beans after soaking them. And then you could add some, wheat-free tamari would be good. Air-dried sea salt works really well. And then just season it the way you like. But black beans are great. I love them. And by soaking them, then you break down some of that raffinose for better digestion. And when you eat beans, it's not a bad idea to eat a little vinegar with them because vinegar can help digestive system work well. What I do is when I eat anything that's cooked, I'll take a Dr. Joe's digestive enzyme supplement. Because at my age, I don't have enzymes like I used to. I'll take a digestive enzyme, and that helps digest the food more efficiently. Anything cooked. Anything raw, I don't, like a salad or something like that. But if it's cooked, I take an enzyme. And the enzymes are on the website, drjoe.com. Just carry them with you. Whenever you go out, pop an enzyme. So, what else you got?
One of our listeners is giving an exercise tip. They find that cutting firewood is great exercise for them.
Cutting firewood is great. I'm going to give you a little tip because I hurt myself doing this, is you want to swing the axe. We all have a natural way to swing it. Reverse your hands and then swing it the other way. You're not going to be as good at it, but you build up coordination using both sides of the body. In fact, just today I was talking to a young guy, tall, good-looking fella, great shape, and he swims. And I said, when you swim, you always turn your head to one side? He goes, yeah. I said, try turning it to the other side every other stroke. He said, I've tried that. It's really hard. I said, I know, but it integrates your brain, and it's better for the brain. So if you're chopping wood, try swinging the axe the other way. Be careful. Don't hurt yourself, and you're going to get better brain integration as well. And it's great exercise. Just don't hurt yourself, which I've done. So what else you got?
Just a shout out for your Essential Source.
Folks, if you're not taking Essential Source, I don't know why. Essential Source is your prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes, complete multivitamin, has over 72 different ingredients in it. It's hard to manufacture because you got to get all the ingredients at the same time to mix it together. But if you're not taking Essential Source, I don't know what else to tell you. Take it. It's amazing. It's so inexpensive and it's so powerful. And once you start taking it, I want you to take it every day for the rest of your life because it really is the cornerstone, use that word again, of all supplements. So, what else?
Also, it's 10% off right now.
And John says it's 10% off right now, so go ahead and order it. And John's in charge of shipping, and so I didn't know he was spending my money, but apparently he is. So,
that is all.
All right, let's go into part 2 here. Where was I? Good. Okay. Ready? Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito here. If you stayed with me, thank you. If you're just joining me, welcome. We're talking today about what science says is the best diet. And the best diet, spoiler alert, Mediterranean diet. Now, the Mediterranean diet is pretty much almost everything I've been teaching you forever. Really high in fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, good fats, very low meats, very low animal products, small amounts, very low amount of alcohol. And the food components give you high fiber, high fats, antioxidants, polyphenols, vitamins, minerals, choline, vitamin C, potassium, B vitamins, proteins. And that's the health protocol that seems to work best. We said earlier that there is no one part of the Mediterranean diet that's the best. It's the whole package. Now, I don't eat animal products. If you choose to, follow the Mediterranean rules. Small amounts, and they don't use the word organic because in the Mediterranean, it is all organic. So small amounts of organic meat and dairy products. That's it. Very simple. It's way less expensive than anything you're doing right now. Usually within a day or two, people start to feel a difference. And it's better for you. It's better for the environment if you're an environmentalist, whatever turns you on. There was a song by Oleta Adams, and the song said, I don't care how you get here. just get here. Get Here If You Can was the name of the song. I don't care how you get here, just get here. So maybe you want to eat more fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds because you want to lose weight, because you want to save money, because you want to be healthy, you care about the environment. I don't care what your motivation is. It's all the same thing, the Mediterranean diet. And it's exactly what I've been teaching for 40 years. It wasn't called the Mediterranean diet 40 years ago, now it is. But when I started reading the research on it, I said, this is exactly what I've been teaching people. So it works. So lots of research has investigated the fact that the Mediterranean diet can lower your risk of cardiovascular disease. I'm going to go over some of the science behind what it's good for. There's a meta-analysis. Now, what a meta-analysis is, M-E-T-A, and then the word analysis. A meta-analysis is we look at a bunch of different studies. What's the general consensus? Because I promise you that if I wanted to go out there and find a study that says cigarette smoking is not harmful, I can find that study. I can find a study that eating an all-meat diet is going to be good for you. I can show you that medications are dangerous or medications can be beneficial. Whatever you want, there's a study out there for it. But when you do a meta-analysis, okay, here's 100 different studies, 500 different studies, depending on what you're looking at. What does the meta-analysis say? And this one, published last year in March, they pulled a sample of more than 700,000 female participants that, by adhering closely to a Mediterranean diet, had reduced their risk of cardiovascular disease by 24%. Why women? Because women were more likely to stick to the diet than men. That's why they studied them. The meta-analysis seemed to confirm the findings of a previous study, another meta-analysis, that found that the Mediterranean diet could be a major factor in preventing cardiovascular disease. Again, it was the complete diet rather than a particular aspect that seemed to have the most effect. So we have the studies on cardiovascular disease. My father died of a heart condition, and he had rheumatic fever as a child. And rheumatic fever was not taken care of because he grew up in a big family, and they didn't go to the doctors back then. And rheumatic fever got into his heart valve and damaged his heart valve. And so as an adult, he had to have heart valve replacement. And that weakened his heart, and eventually he had a heart attack and died. So in his case, had he treated it early on as a child, he probably wouldn't have had these problems. So I have a little warm spot in my heart for your heart because I don't want you getting cardiovascular disease, especially when much of it is preventable. Now, my father's condition, it would have been preventable had he gone to the doctor when he had rheumatic fever and treated it properly. But he didn't. And so now it became a big issue. So the study concludes no specific component showed to benefit over the whole cardiovascular disease diet, which is the Mediterranean diet. Which is what? Fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, small amounts of organic fruits and of organic animal products. That's it. Exactly what I've been telling you for 40 years now. It's also increasing evidence that the diet can help with cognitive health. Cognition is your body's ability to think. Do I remember how to drive my car, brush my teeth? Do I remember people's names? That's your thought process. There's also something called the autonomic nervous system. My heart is beating right now. I can't control that. My blood is coursing through my veins. I can't control that. But my thought processes, that's this part of the nervous system, is called cognition. Study done last year again in UK Biobank just reported individuals with higher adherence to the Mediterranean diet had 23% lower risk of dementia compared to those who had lower adherence to the Mediterranean diet. So, more proof. The study, which used 60,000 people, concluded that the Mediterranean diet lowered dementia risk even in those that had genetic predispositions. You had an inherited chance of getting it, and yet it still lowered your risk. Why would you eat any other diet? Well, the bad food tastes good. I understand that. Spare ribs taste good. I remember. It's been 39 years since I've had them, but they taste good. Meatballs taste good. That's the only benefit, is that the bad food tastes good. And the food also 30 years ago was a lot different than it is today, and I don't see it changing anytime soon unless something dramatic happens where we just keep putting more chemicals and more toxins into our body. And this generation of children is the first generation ever to have a shorter life expectancy than their parents. And the last study I read was 5 years. So all this innovation that we have in science and technology and medicine and healthcare, and people are living less. War on cancer. John F. Kennedy, back in the 60s, took out the war on cancer. How we doing? Not too good, are we? So what we're doing isn't working, and yet for some reason we just keep doing it. Authors conclude that adopting a diet high in healthy plant-based foods may be the strategy to help reduce dementia. Pretty simple. Now, there are supplements I use with my patients that are starting to get dementia. I'm not saying I have a cure for dementia. Please don't put words in my mouth. But I get them on Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source, which is the minimum supplements everybody should be taking. If you're not taking them, just do that. If you're not willing to do anything else, at least take Super Greens and Essential Source every day. I always laugh when people say, well, Dr. Joe, I ordered it, and I have a 3-month supply now. Well, what does that tell me? You're not taking it. You buy it 1 month supply at a time. It's relatively inexpensive. So if it doesn't work if it's in a container. It only works when it's in your body. Then I find out if they have high blood pressure or normal blood pressure. I'll get them on something called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide opens up your blood vessels, increases circulation to your heart, your lungs, your brain, your kidneys, your spleen. Men with erectile dysfunction, many times it's a nitric oxide issue. And as we get older, we just don't produce as much nitric oxide. If you take nitric oxide, you can build up your stores, and then before romance, you can take an extra dose, nitric oxide supplement, and it works great. It's on my website, drjoe.com. It's my third favorite supplement. Super Greens and Essential Source are number 1 and 2, and then nitric oxide is number 3 because you feel it. Clarity of brain, clarity of thought, energy levels, again, performance when it comes to romance, blood pressure issues. It can open up the blood vessels and help drop the blood pressure. Now, it's not the end-all be-all to any of these. Nothing is the end-all be-all. It's a whole, like the Mediterranean diet says, it's the whole plan that works the best. But if you want to cherry pick and pick and choose certain ones, great. Anything you do is probably going to be better than what you're doing right now when it comes to natural health. So all the supplements are on our website, drjoe.com. If you ever have questions, email me through the website. I'm happy to answer your questions for you. I get, I want to say 10 to 20 questions a day just through the website, not counting my email, not counting patients, and I'm happy to answer them for you. So just send me your questions through the website, drjoe.com. If I have an answer, if I don't have an answer, I'm going to tell you. I don't know. You got me on that one. So we're talking about what is the best diet according to science, and it's the Mediterranean diet. Another study looked at postmortem Alzheimer's pathology. So people died, and they did autopsies on them. And they found that those who followed the Mediterranean diet, or what's called the MIND diet, M-I-N-D, the Mediterranean diet for neurodegenerative delay. So how do you slow down the process? Particularly one rich in green leafy vegetables had lower levels of what's called beta amyloid. Beta amyloid is a plaque that builds up in your brain that seems to be the correlation between that and Alzheimer's disease. And so you kind of gunk up the works. But people that had dementia, the more fruits and vegetables, more Mediterranean, closer they followed the diet, the less beta amyloid they had. I don't know what else to tell you, folks. The science is pretty clear. Diet may also be beneficial for people with multiple sclerosis. A preliminary study presented at the American Academy of Neurology's 75th annual meeting, 2023, found that people with MS who followed the Mediterranean diet had 20% lower risk of cognitive impairment than those who didn't. You have to eat anyway. Why not eat good foods? Let's talk about Mediterranean diet. Again, fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, and cancer. Diet is found to reduce some forms of cancer and improve the efficacy of some cancer treatments. So even if you have cancer, it's not too late because it's going to make the treatments work better. They found that higher adherence to the Mediterranean diet was associated with lower risk of certain types of cancer, including breast, colorectal, and prostate cancer. Now, gentlemen, as we get older, our prostates are going to swell. It happens to everyone I've ever spoken to. And as the prostate swells, you might have trouble peeing. You pee, you wake up more at night. But it doesn't mean you have cancer if you just have a swollen prostate. But we find that a plant-based diet can help bring down that inflammation. The antioxidants and anti-inflammatory properties in the diet prevent and counteract DNA damages that slow down the development of various types of cancer. You should be worried about cancer. Everyone should be worried about cancer. And so why wouldn't you do everything we can? I was concerned when cell phones came out because of electromagnetic frequencies. And when I first started talking about it, whatever it was, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, whenever it came out, I don't remember. Oh, you're a quack. You don't know what you're talking about. That's voodoo. It's fine. Guess what? Dr. Joe was right again. Now we have studies on electromagnetic frequencies. And when we went to 5G, those concerns skyrocketed. because 5G is a lot more potent than 4G was. And so we have a lot more opportunity in today's society to get cancer than we had even 15, 20 years ago. So you should be concerned. Recent research suggests that eating a diet high in colorful fruits and vegetables both reduces the risk of developing prostate cancer and speeds recovery in those undergoing radiation treatment for the disease. I wish that doctors would say, and a lot of doctors do now, they send them to our office, we're going to treat you for cancer. We're going to treat you for cardiovascular disease. We're going to treat you for colorectal problems. I also want you to go see Dr. Joe so he can do a nutrition workup on you, so we can do nutrition, because my doctor friends also understand they don't know nutrition like I do. I don't know surgery like they do. I'm not going to operate on you. I'm going to send you to my surgeon friends. You need a gynecology exam? I'll send you to a gynecologist. You have a traumatic brain injury? I can help you with it, but I'll send you to a neurologist. And then let's do the nutrition protocols as well. And so the studies after study after study keep showing the same thing. You get the best results when you eat more fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. Australia found that diets high in lycopene and selenium help reduce the risk of prostate cancer. Lycopene is found in things like tomatoes. Tomatoes, melons, papayas, grapes, peaches, watermelons, and cranberries are high in lycopene. All of these are recommended on the Mediterranean diet. It's not only prostate cancer. Recent study found that Mediterranean diet significantly improved response to immunotherapy drugs in melanoma. So even if we're going the traditional medical route, we have an option now to add to that. That can help with the outcomes in many cases. It's not an end-all, be-all, cure-all, but in many cases, why not do everything we can? That's always my thing. I want to do everything I can to get the best results possible. Why wouldn't I? And it's less expensive than anything you're doing. So it can, the diet has 5 main effects. It lowers your blood cholesterol and your fats, protects against oxidative stress, inflammation, and platelet aggregation. Platelet aggregation is when your blood cells clump together so they can carry oxygen through the body. Modify hormone and growth hormones involved in cancer, restrict specific amino acids that can cause problems, and influencing the microbiome in your gut that produces metabolites that would help your metabolic health. So there's no downside to this, folks, except the bad food tastes good. Omega-3 fatty acids, polyphenols, resveratrol, vitamins contribute to reducing inflammation. And inflammation is linked to every disease known to man. So why wouldn't we do that? So even small changes make a big difference. Common thread throughout a healthy diet is heavy influence on plants, which we see numerous benefits of increasing your fiber, your antioxidants, your phytonutrients, your vitamins, your minerals. So the key to a good diet is incorporating plenty of vegetables, grains, healthy fats. When I say grains, I'm going to take wheat off that list, because wheat oftentimes is sprayed, in the United States anyway, with glyphosate, which is a weed killer, which can destroy the good bacteria in your colon and can lead and is linked to things like cancers. And so I wouldn't recommend wheat. Now, if you're going to do wheat, which I wish you wouldn't, if you're going to do wheat, I want you to do organic only. There are certain things that really should be organic. Animal products should always be organic. If you're going to drink alcohol, it should always be organic. By the way, if you're going to drink alcohol, this is what I want you to do. You're going to take your super greens and essential source and B complex and vitamin D and omega-3 fatty acids and whatever other supplements. You're going to take those throughout the day. But if you're going to go out drinking, I want you to take an extra dose of super greens and essential source. Those are the powders. And an extra dose of B complex. Because when you drink alcohol, you flush out a lot of nutrients. You pee a lot, and you're losing a lot of nutrients. So at least let's replace those nutrients to mitigate the damage. I understand that you're probably going to drink. I wish you wouldn't, but I understand you're going to, because I'm also a realist. So at least do the super green essential source and B complex, and then drink a lot of water while you're drinking as well to flush it out of your system. It's like the Mediterranean diet. Mostly fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, legumes, plants. And then a little bit, maybe 10% of the diet would be the animal products, organic wine, dairy products, just a little bit. And your body is more likely to handle a little bit of toxin than a lot of toxin. And the other part is that if you're not eating the toxins, you're getting the nutrients by eating the good foods. Many of you are nutritionally deficient. You're starving yourself. Now, you may be overweight. That doesn't mean you're not nutritionally deficient. You got plenty of food, just not enough nutrients. That's why I think supplements are so important. Super Green is an essential source. Vitamin D, B complex, that's like the starter kit. I would add the nitric oxide for energy. Don't take it if you have low blood pressure. I take glutathione for my liver. I take omega-3 fatty acids for my brain. I take digestive enzymes from eating cooked foods. It's not hard. It's easy. And I'll just tell you what to do. You don't even have to think about it. This is what I'm going to do. All the supplements we talk about are on our website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. If you want to make an appointment to come see us, and that really is going to be the best thing you can do, go to my website, drjoe.com. Just book an appointment. Let's check your nervous system. Do you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, sciatica, headaches? Many of you, most of you are suffering needlessly. You don't have to suffer anymore, because many times we can find the cause of the pain and treat the cause, not just treat the symptoms. In the process, we get the body healthier. If your goal is life extension, we talk about amino acids, and we talk about peptides, and we talk about injections and collagen, but the key to slowing down the aging process is mobility. The joints have to be mobile. The joints can't be locked up. And if a joint is out of place or fixated, it can be pinching a nerve, and it also wears out very quickly. So if nothing else, you want to mobilize your joints through chiropractic adjustments to keep the body mobile and fresh. There's 1,000 other benefits, but that's a big one right there. If for nothing else but to keep your body young and healthy, you want to come see us. And I love when patients come in and say, Dr. Joe, I'm just here for a checkup. I want to see if there's anything I can do to get healthier. I just think that's so cool. And I love when people do it. So if you want to make an appointment, drjoe.com. Normally the first visit is $940. For you, my listeners, I've reduced that to $299. That's an exam, x-rays, consultation, first treatment, going over the x-rays on your follow-up visit, total explanation of what we found, and a complete nutrition evaluation. Had a patient the other day, and he's been to other chiropractors, and he said, I've learned more in a half a visit with you than I've learned in all the years I've gone to the other doctors. I said, well, we like to do things very thorough. He says, oh, absolutely. I've never seen anything like this before. And I hear that every day. Patients come in, I've been to other doctors, not just chiropractors, other doctors, and they say, nobody's as efficient as you guys and thorough as you guys. Because we want to get to the cause. We want you to understand why we're doing it. So drjoe.com, book your appointment right now. We accept almost all insurances, car accidents, sports injuries. Folks, if the car's damaged, you're damaged. Come see us immediately. Don't waste time. The insurance companies play this little game called gap in care. You get in an accident, you didn't go to the doctor right away. Well, it's a gap in care. You weren't hurt. Fight us on it. So that's why we know what they're going to say. Let's just remove all the barriers we possibly can. Do not go to a doctor or a lawyer. If somebody calls you and says, go see this doctor or lawyer, I'm going to give you money, I'm going to give you transportation, gas card, Walmart gift card. It's a scam. It's a felony. You will be involved with felons. And you're not going to get the care you need. You're not going to get the legal representation you need. And it's blowing up like crazy. And I have so many patients. Well, they called me up and said they were calling from your office to go see another doctor. It's a lie. It's a felony. It's the runners. We call them the runners, the ambulance chasers. It's a felony. drjoe.com. If I'm not near you, if I don't have an office near you, Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, or West Cobb, let me know. I'll find you a doctor near you. So, again, we want to try to get to the cause of the problem, not just treat the symptoms. So we started this program. We talked about what does science say is the best diet. And the best diet is going to be the Mediterranean diet, which is what I've been teaching you for the past 40 years. Now it has a name, though, Mediterranean diet. Lots of fruits, lots of vegetables, nuts and seeds, raw food, lots of water, exercise. And again, you don't have to go to the gym and work out for an hour a day. Just keep the body in motion. If nothing else, every hour, go for a 5-minute walk. Stand up and march in front of your desk for a few minutes. Walk up and down the stairs. Park far away and walk. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. So many things we can do to incorporate motion into your body. Again, remember we said motion is life. And when the bones are locked up, if a hip is locked up, a knee is locked up, it's going to wear out, and that can be a problem. I've had a lot of patients come to me and say, Dr. Joe, I've been told I need a hip replacement, knee replacement. We take an x-ray, sure enough, a lot of arthritis. I prefer we do this treatment first, in most cases, called acoustic wave therapy. Acoustic wave therapy sends really, really fast impulses into a joint. It's a little machine. It looks like a little toy gun. Breaks up scar tissue, increases circulation, recruits stem cells into the area. And countless patients have told me, Dr. Joe, I couldn't move my knee. It hurt going upstairs. I couldn't bend over. My hip was killing me. And after just a few treatments, I can move again. I can go upstairs again. I can move my shoulder again. I hear it every day. So that's another alternative treatment that we have. We have cold laser. Cold laser sends light into the mitochondria of the cell and activates the mitochondria. Mitochondria is the part of the cell that generates electricity. So the cells can act, it's like plugging them into the wall and recharging them. We've had so many great results with neuropathy, with vascular swelling, lymphedema, pain in general. So we use a lot of cold laser. We use a lot of acoustic wave, of course, chiropractic care, nutrition, work on the digestive system. Let's put together a health care plan. You might have health insurance, but you don't have a health care plan. Let me put together a health care plan for you, and then you decide what you want to do. If you want to do it, great. If you don't, that's okay too. It's your call. But let's get to the cause of the problem. We said earlier, gentlemen with erectile dysfunction, we don't treat erectile dysfunction. We try to treat the cause of erectile dysfunction. Is it a pinched nerve? Is it a vascular issue? Is it a circulatory issue? Is it a hormone issue? So drjoe.com, if you just type ED in the search bar, and a little quiz will pop up. Take the quiz, send it to me. It comes right to my email, and then I'll go ahead and give you some advice, what I see based on your quiz answers. But supplements, again, they're not an option, in my opinion. They're a necessity. So follow me on social media. It's Dr. Joe Esposito. Facebook is the Dr. Joe Esposito. We post every single day. You're going to get little tips every single day. Now, if you're a podcast junkie, that's fine too. Just go to your podcast service and put in Dr. Joe for the health of it. Dr. Joe for the health of it. We put out at least 2 podcasts a week. If you don't like it, don't listen to them. If you don't like the social media stuff, unfollow me. We have a newsletter. Sign up for it. It's absolutely free. If you don't like it, unsubscribe. I want to give you all the information I possibly can, any which way I can. Some people read, some people listen, some people watch. Depends on your learning style. I want to give you that information. If you're a member, if you're a veteran, if the VA refers you to us, we're on our VA referral list. And the VA will pay for your treatments. So why wouldn't you want to do that? So we want to get to the cause of the problem, not just treat the symptoms. And follow me on social media. Please do that, by the way. I appreciate it, first of all. But also, you're going to get a lot of information. And it helps me because if you like this information, excuse me, and you want to get the word out, social media is a great way to do it. So, folks, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. Again, my website, book an appointment, send me questions, get the supplements, drjoe, drjoe.com. Catch you next time. All right. Covered the best diet according to science. Dr. Joe was right again. What else you got?
If organic fruits aren't available, I've heard that apple cider vinegar is the best cleaner. Do you agree?
Yes, it's a very good cleaner. Yeah. You put about a quarter cup and maybe a gallon of water. If you're going to eat the skin, I'd recommend peeling the skin if it's not organic. So like an apple or something like that. Don't eat the skin if it's not organic. But you want to wash all your fruits and vegetables. Watermelon. I wash it with a sponge and soap and water. Because if I'm cutting into something, I want to make sure toxins and chemicals don't get in that are on the skin. So, yeah, wash everything, but apple cider vinegar works great. What else?
What are the healthiest store-bought seeds?
Organic. Organic is always going to be the best. Raw is better than roasted, but roasted is still better than steak. And so, again, it's about making better choices. So I shop at Sprouts a lot. Kroger. Sprouts has a good selection because it's kind of leaning healthy. Whole Foods, of course, can be expensive. Excuse me, but Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, those are kind of like the 3 big ones right now. A couple of independent stores I used to go to closed down during COVID. So, yeah, Sprouts has those bins there. You can take them right out of the bins. Try to do organic if you can. What else?
Just a comment from a listener. Most of your recommendations are inexpensive and haven't been sick in years, and I take 0 pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, it's the whole thing. I'm giving you the information. What you do it is up to you. Not charging you for any of these talks. Why? Because I want to get you well and keep you well. Anything else?
That is all.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Please, if you're not following me on all social media platforms, please do that. That's all I ask. I have no way of checking you on this. This is the honor system. So I'll catch you next week.